What is shaking, everybody? Before we start the golden mic, I got something to read to you. You got to check this out. This is a passage from the new book that came out from Uncovering Your Dreams. Uncovering the Life of Your Dreams by Bruce T. Schneider. So sitting here, I realized that my world had previously been a prison that kept me sleepwalking through life, ignorant and blind to the truth about reality, about life, about who I truly was. Now, with my eyes closed, I can see more clearly than ever before. And in a few moments, after the count of 3, I will open my eyes and see the absolute truth. The answer to life's most important question is about to be answered. Yet, for the first time in my life, I'm content just sitting here, eyes closed. Surreal and perfect. I'm smiling the kind of smile people have when they meet their soulmate for the first time and just know they have been and will be together forever. What will I see? I don't know. And I have no expectations. I'm just ready. I'm ready to open my eyes to an even deeper reality. Literally, I didn't see this coming. 1, I'm ready. 2, what a journey. And 3, if you want a free copy of this book, I want you to join Beyond Resilient, the Facebook group. We're going to talk about this book, Uncovering the Life of Your Dreams, over the next month. So you need to make sure that you've got a copy. Make sure that you join the Beyond Resilient group. With that said, it is episode 15 of the Golden Mic. It's your boy, Mark Cordone. For those of you who don't know me, I am a positive psychologist, which means optimal performance. Amanda's going to talk about that in a little bit with what she does. And also feeling great. So feeling great and functioning well are the 2 main things that I work on as a coach. Now, Amanda, you're going to be talking about tips for happiness from like a non-yogi standpoint today.
That's right.
So thank you for joining us. But first of all, Amanda, are you feeling good today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Pretty good.
I know you've been doing a lot of traveling. Are you functioning well?
I'll leave that to you to decide.
I'd say you're functioning well. So given all of that, if y'all out there are feeling good and functioning well, give me a big old heart. Can you give me a heart? Give me a big old heart. If you had one of these weekends, it's just kind of a draining Monday, you can have those days. You're permitted to have those days. And in fact, you should embrace those days. Not every day is a flourishing day. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if that's how you're feeling. And if you're just feeling optimistic, maybe things have not been going the way you'd been hoping they'd go, but you're still optimistic about the future. Give me a big old wow face. Amanda's wow face. Amanda, I must say, that's one of the best wow faces out there. So, Amanda, you're coming in from Missouri today, right?
Fort Worth, Texas, y'all.
You're coming in from Fort Worth, Texas, y'all. I'm back in Tampa. Wherever you guys are at, whether it be, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, check in with us. Let us know how you're doing. But Amanda, given all of that, you're a performance coach. You've been through IPEC training. So just to get started, what is your story?
What is my story, Morning Glory? Yeah, so you're right. I'm a high performance coach, and I work with high achievers to basically help them get to their next level, whatever that happens to mean for them. So what's my story about that? Basically, I was like the small town girl that grew up really far away from everything in the Arctic of Canada. And I have had a lot of progress and achievement in my own life. But I've had the dark side of that, right? So I basically did what everybody tells you to do, which is go get your education in something that's super expensive and hard. And then you will be successful because you get a kick-ass job Oh, can I say that on here?
Just did.
I just did. It's too late. And get that great job, and then you'll be happy, right? And oh, by the way, along the way, you're going to meet that amazing guy, and you're going to get married, and then you're going to have the babies, and you're also going to be like that ideal person that, you know. So I was doing all the steps, but the problem was that I was working harder and harder, and I was getting burned out. And I was at one time I was working 120-hour work weeks. And that led to like awful depression. It nearly killed me. It was really, really quite terrible. And lucky for me, I had people in my life that loved me enough to tell me that that wasn't normal. And so apparently that's not normal to be so sad and so disengaged from your life apart from working hard for that success. But here's the rub. A lot of people say that like you have success or you have happiness. And I'm here to tell you, no, right? You have success because of happiness. You have success because of happiness. So I learned that basically once I began recovering from my depression, I became very obsessed with getting smarter about how I spend my time to still have achievement and have success in my life. But I learned very quickly the role of happiness in doing that in high performance and productivity habits. So that's kind of my story. I then I worked for about 10 years as a strategist in a corporation, and you know, it was a global position. I got very, very good. But my passion has always been working with people individually on their transformations, not so much the big companies and the big company transformation. I mean, even in the context of a big company transformation, I was always like, oh, who are the key people that I'm going to help make this transition so that the bigger transformation happens. So basically, I decided that I was going to do less of the thing I used to be the expert in and throw myself all into the personal development space.
Okay. So before we talk about you like throwing yourself all into the personal development space, let's talk about Amanda when she was doing the grind and getting sick because of it. Like when you're in the middle of doing the grind, and many people who are watching the show, and even myself, I have this tendency to do that as well. But when you're in the middle of doing the grind and you're even sacrificing things like your health for the grind itself, what are you thinking? Like, are you like, am I stuck here? Or are you like, one day it'll get better when? Like, what were you thinking there?
Yeah, you know,
what were you thinking?
What the hell were you thinking? I ask myself that all the time. I mean, I was thinking what we all think, right? I call it the when then story, right?
Oh, okay. What's that?
When I'm done this deliverable, then I'm going to be happy. When I get through this client, then I'm going to have some free time. When I finally finish this one thing, then I'm going to start going to the gym. When I get this other thing under control, then I'm going to start eating healthier, right? So there's just sort of this divide that happens over time of, you know, when this happens, then. And what was happening was I had all this big pile of whens.
Yeah.
And whens I wasn't getting to. So I wasn't eating right. I wasn't sleeping right. I wasn't moving right. I wasn't connecting right, you know, in terms of having the right relationships and people around me. And I think the other thing is that we tend to think that our current circumstances, we tend to think about our future in terms of our current circumstances. Right. So that means I felt trapped by it.
Sure. Okay. So it really took that support community to kind of boost you out of it and say, okay, this is really, really unhealthy.
I mean, it really did. I mean, so my big moment that I realized that this was total garbage was So the nature of depression, and I don't know if you've talked about this before on your podcast, and please, I'd love to hear it if you have like different ideas about it. But I think of depression is actually your own brain lying to you. And what happened to me was my brain was telling me things about myself and the world that were very dark, right? So Amanda, you're not good enough. Amanda, people don't like you very much. Amanda, you've got to do these things, and you're not very good. So you've got to make sure that you just kind of keep showing up, and you're not really worth a lot. You're worth nothing. You're less than nothing. You're actually a nuisance. So my brain was giving myself these messages because I was in such a state of health deterioration. And what happened was one day there was what I call the riff in the matrix.
Okay.
All right. So the brain's telling me all these stories about who I am and what I am, and that I'm a nuisance and that there's no real point. The harder I tried to work, the more my brain would, it was like this big dog on my shoulder, right? It was just, no, it's not enough. It's not enough. And the riff in the matrix came one day when my husband walks into the bedroom. It's 3:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. And I'm literally staring at the wall when he walks in, and laying in bed, staring at the wall. And he says, "Babe, do you want to go grocery shopping?" And I was like, "No, I'm just so tired. I'm too tired." Right. And that was part of the lies the depression was telling me. "I'm too tired, babe. You go on your own." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he walked out. And the riff in the matrix happened when I was staring at that wall, and I went, whoa, 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 whoa. It's 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon. The love of my life has walked in, invited me to do to do the most, normal thing in the world. And I'm working so hard that I'm completely exhausted, that I don't want to go out with him to do something super simple and basic, because I'm working for the success, and I've got that success right in front of me. And that disconnect was really what led to the conversation that then led to the support showing up for me. Yeah. Sure.
So riff in the matrix, the support shows up. What does life look like now on Saturdays at 3 p.m. or any day for you right now? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, now I've got kids. So Saturdays are generally kid day. We're doing soccer and little gym, and my stepdaughter does Irish dancing. My stepson does football. My 8-month-old doesn't do much of that. He watches.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, like it's all a family day, and Sundays it's a lot of connection and hanging out with friends and so on. And like today at 3:00, I'm talking to you. I guess it's 4:00. Before that, what else was I doing? I was having a client call. I was wrapping up a client call at 3:00, helping somebody, crush it in her life. It was awesome.
Yeah. So it definitely sounds like you're busy, because you went through a litany of things. Totally. Like, it was funny because it was like 4 kid things, and then it was like, you said what you're doing with me. So I guess I'm like the 5th kid in your life now, which I am, right? But also at the same time, what does that fulfillment look like to you right now?
Oh my gosh. I mean, night and day. My work charges me up. It really does. I actually have to make a point at the end of the day of making sure I hold space to kind of come down off of it. Okay. I would say, in the past, kind of rewinding to the depressed experience, I would be wound up, but it would be more like in a rage. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that person said that thing in that email. Right. Which, would probably shock the person that there was even a reaction, because they probably didn't even think they were doing anything. Now it's like, I have my moments, right? Like, I'll still get pissed off about stuff sometimes, but it takes a lot more to shake me than it used to. Like, a lot more to shake me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I want to hear these like tips on happiness from a non-yogi.
Totally.
But first of all, I want to recognize Ritu, Carrie Rose, Bonnie Smith, and Romani. Thank you all for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up if you're liking this, some of the things that are being thrown out there, or even better, give us a comment when she's throwing out these tips on happiness. So why did you make it a point to say from a non-yogi, like happiness tips? Why just not like happiness tips?
I said from a non-yogi because I know that the term happy, a lot of people hear that word and they're like, oh yeah, that's like something you do in your leisure time, right? Like happy, that sounds nice, but that's like Disneyland, right? Like that doesn't apply to me day to day. And so many of us kind of associate a happiness movement or focus on happiness with yoga, right? Or with a very, very healthy lifestyle that maybe a lot of us don't identify with, right? Mm-hmm. And I know for me, I had a lot of resistance in the beginning to looking at happiness and positivity because I looked at it as being kind of woo-woo and fluffy. So I specifically said from a non-yogi because, the thing is though, I didn't mention, but I'm actually an engineer by education. Yeah, a chemical engineer, so it's like I like the science of things. I like knowing how stuff works, in a scientific manner. I have definitely more of an appreciation for Eastern thinking and ancient thinking than I did, but my entry point was definitely through science. And so that's why. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So what do we got going on here?
Yeah. So do you want some tips?
Actually, even before we start, what is your definition of happiness?
Oh, that's a good question. So
non-yogi.
Non-yogi.
You non-yogi, you.
Happiness is specific to everyone, right? In terms of like what will make you happy. I think of happiness as a practice, right? Mm-hmm. Something that you approach with intention. And it's with the intention of having higher well-being or higher perceived well-being within yourself, right? So the way you're looking at the world, you feel well. Does that make sense?
Very much.
Yeah. So that's what it means.
Okay. So let's go into it. So in terms of happiness as a practice, what do we got going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I do in my own practice is I don't make a big deal about it. So it is a very big deal, but if you make it into a big deal, then it becomes something that is like, well, when I have time for the practice, then I'll do it. There's that when then story again. So really like viewing happiness and the priority of happiness being a permeating mindset that you think of really often and you practice a little bit all the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry, viewers, because like my production thing back here just stopped. So I'll just recite what you have to say. So that when then mindset again, that's not what happiness is, right?
It really is bringing that presence.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do we got going on in terms of your tips?
Yeah. I mean, I think the other thing is using your valuable consciousness to realize that happiness is something that you choose and not something that happens to you. So yes, I mean, like happy things happen. If my husband sends me flowers for no reason, guaranteed I'm going to get that's going to trigger a smile. And it's a surprise and it's something from outside that I didn't really expect. However, the vast majority of our own experience and perspectives that we apply in life is within our control. So when you recognize that you have a role to play and that you get the choice about how you look at something, that's huge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you get that. And I'm not saying it's easy. Sometimes it's freaking hard to do it.
Yeah,
but when you remember you have that power, that's what's important.
And I think that's an awesome piece because to sort of couple with that idea of when and then mindset, if you really shift towards happiness as choice, I choose happiness, the when and then mindset pretty much becomes eradicated.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally.
It's a little bit all the time.
Okay,
Totally.
right
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my last tip for today, this notion of triggers. So something that I use all the time is I look at my routine and I pick triggers to remind me to have an intentional, happy mindset. So for me, it's every time I get into a car and I arrive somewhere, I always take a beat as just as I turn off the engine to go, okay, where am I headed next? And how am I going to bring my best mindset to this next thing? Right. And that could be driving home at the end of the day. That could be arriving at work. I have an office outside of my house. So that could be arriving at the airport if I'm taking one of my many trips. It's just really anywhere that I go, I have this trigger that when I turn off the engine, I ask myself, how am I going to bring my best to this situation? And to me, that triggers the meaning of my best mindset. What am I going to do?
That's freaking awesome. And I think when you use the word triggers, it's so loaded that this idea of like catabolic energy is going to show up, right? Like this negative energy is going to show up when you're triggered by something, right? Versus you, again,
you can use triggers for the light side.
Right? So this is like the engineer in you. Like you can create a switch that triggers sort of a happiness loop. And then you can sort of broaden and build from those positive emotions. Awesome. We got Denny, the one of our podcasters from the Untapped Talent tuning in. It's good to see you, Denny. I hope you made it back to Holland safe. Ritu Goswami, who works with lawyers and intentionality and well-being, productivity coach and consultant, triggers for intentional happy mindset. I think she's liking it. Love that switch, she said.
Awesome.
So I'm thinking everybody is liking these three things. Let's go through them one more time so we can reinforce them, as I don't have any locus of control on this side with the production of the show anymore. It's broken.
It is broken. It's failing you today. Yeah. So, and I'll give you a bonus little tip. Sometimes it's easier to go backwards to remember things. So the last tip I just gave you was have a trigger that is part of your normal day, your normal routine, that you're going to have that intentional, like, how am I going to bring, my best mindset? And usually that means a happy mindset to a situation. How am I going to show up as my absolute best self? Right. The other thing I told you was that you get a choice about your mindset. Right. And when you remember that choice, then that gives you power. Even if you feel in that moment like you don't want to make the choice, knowing you have the choice is incredibly powerful. And then the first thing that I told you was little tweaks. Make it tiny, but pervasive, right? So that you don't tell yourself, well, when all is right in the world, then I will be happy. No.
Yep.
You're a little bit happy, a little bit, all the time.
It's like the Kaizen approach to happiness. Just
it is
little tiny tweaks, right?
Tiny tweaks.
Every single day.
Exactly.
Little tiny tweaks.
Exactly.
So I don't know if you've seen the show before. Have you?
No, this is my first
Okay,
time.
well then I'm saving the last question for last. But what I want to know is, what is the best way that we can keep in touch with you? Website, like what is a way that we can keep in touch with you when it comes to happiness and performance and purpose? How can we interact with you?
Awesome. So I'm really active on Facebook. So you are welcome, anybody, to send me a private message. Just ping me. That's cool. I also have a website, amandakaufman.net. And I also offer free strategy sessions. So if you are someone who might be interested in exploring just a little more, like, okay, but in my situation, how can I bring higher performance? Can I bring that mindset, my best self, into my life? I offer those for completely free, and they're totally sales-free zone. And you walk out with an actionable tip you can put into practice right away. So
sales-free zone.
Sales-free zone, right? And obviously I'm a coach and people pay me for coaching. So I do offer another conversation if it seems like it's a great fit after the 15-minute session, but the 15-minute session itself is sales-free zone.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Fantastic. I'm going to put it in the show notes. But if you don't see it in the show notes, because I didn't put it in, you can just get in touch with Amanda via
Yeah,
Facebook. Simple as that.
exactly.
We're already hooked
Easy.
up through the Facebook, through the interwebs, right?
That's
So,
right.
Amanda, this is why the show is called The Golden Mic, right?
Okay.
So I want you to imagine over in Texas that a golden microphone is dropping from the ceiling. Yes, let it drop. Hold your hands up high as it drops from the ceiling. Say, "Come to me, golden microphone."
All right, golden microphone. Here we
Receive
go.
the golden microphone.
I'm
Now,
receiving it.
now, I want you to imagine, if you will, that this golden microphone
Oh,
will
no,
translate into every single language and broadcast all across the world for 2 minutes. You have the ears of the entire world when I flip the switch for 2 minutes. And I'm going to flip the switch
oh gosh.
now.
All right. You have everything you need to change everything in your life, and you can get started right now. So obviously that was 20 seconds. And what I mean by that, what I mean more specifically is that your current circumstances really do not dictate your future outcomes. If you want to change your career, you can change it. You have everything you need right now to get started. Do you have everything that you need to get to that next state? Like immediately, instantly? Well, no, I'm not aware of too many people who have a genie in a bottle or a magic wand. But the point is that you have everything that you need to get started, because all you need to do is take that next right action towards your goals. And then you take another one and you take another one. And I know this to be absolutely true because it has been exactly my life experience. There's no reason I should be sitting here telling you how much I love happiness and personal development and working with clients and having my own business and having my own office and, making the money I'm making, that I'm supporting 4 kids and I'm married. There's nothing about how my life started that would indicate to you that that is where I would be now. And I am so blessed to be able to share with you that life planning for a long time was something I resisted because I couldn't envision what that future is. And I still can't envision what my life is going to be like by the time I'm 80 years old. And I wish for you that you can't either. I really, really want for you to believe that you can do anything you want to set your mind to. You might have to get creative along the way. The universe is likely to test you to see if you really, really want it. But you have everything that you need to get started right now. All you have to do is decide what that next right action is, and you need to take it, right? And for you, that might be have a conversation. That might be do a Google search. Ask Uncle Google the question, how do I make this change, right? Or maybe it's that you just have a little internal resolution. This is my demarcation line. From now on, this is how it's going to be different. It doesn't have to be a big move. I told you about my big defining moment where I was staring at a wall at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. We hear all the personal development gurus, they have their big car accidents or this huge dramatic thing. You don't have to have a car accident to change your entire life. You can decide to, and you've got everything you need to get started. And I hope that you'll get started right now because you heard this message.
Amanda Kaufman, you have said enough. I want to thank you for coming on the Golden Mic and just crushing the Golden Mic.
Thank you. That was so much fun and such a surprise.
Right? You've got some, I told you it was going to be fun. Little tweaks in happiness. You have a choice when it comes to happiness. And you can create happiness triggers. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely matter of fact, things that we can put into operation daily. Let's see what's going on here. Carl, Yukai, Ritu, Carrie, Bonnie, Romani, it is good to see you. And of course, if you don't know where to go still, why don't you pick up a copy of this book, Uncovering the Life of Your Dreams? It might help you with some purpose as well. schedule Amanda for that 15 minutes, y'all. And let's have an awesome week. Amanda, I know that you're super busy, but thank you so much for coming on. I told you it was going to be fun.
Oh man, it was a slice. I loved it. I love your energy, Mark. You're doing some really powerful and amazing things. So thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, well, I just love how like very quickly we jumped on each other's on the same page, and now we can just get on these shows and just complete each other's sentences. Exactly. Perfect. So hopefully we'll have you on soon. Go do your thing. And we'll see you soon tomorrow on the Golden Microphone Live. We're going to have episode 16. You know why? Because no one cancels me. I will see you soon. Take care.
Take care.